conquista tutto. L'amore conquista tutto.
Hey there, and welcome to episode 41 of the let me get this right, Unfiltered and Undiscovered podcast. I almost said unlimited there, Braggy. My God, not a good...
Unlimited, we're unlimited, mate.
We are unlimited. It's this whole concept of Tuesday night. It's just, my head's not in the game. And that voice that you can hear is obviously my co-host, and one of the best kept food secrets from where he lives is a place called Extra Chicken Salt. It's a hidden restaurant, and it's actually at Curry Street, Adelaide. And you head through, cop this, you head through the chicken shop cool room door, and you head back to an area of disco and fluffy ducks. Welcome, Tave Bragg from Adelaide.
Man, where do you find this shit?
I just look up things like...
I know Curry Street, but I don't know the chicken salt shop. What is it called?
Extra Chicken Salt. It's a hidden restaurant, so...
Extra chicken salt. It's a very Adelaide thing, because I think chicken salt was actually invented in Adelaide.
Oh, truly?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I think it's a very Adelaide thing, but I don't know.
38 Curry Street, for all those people tuning in Adelaide, go check it out. It's one of the best kept secrets. Hey, Braggy, we had a great show last week, didn't we?
Oh, she was so inspiring, and so lovely. It was just good to go to Nashville.
Yeah, it was, and so talk to someone from Nashville, and just that energy that she brought to it. It was just, and she works as a restaurant host or as one of the servers in a restaurant while she's building a dream.
So she's just a typical, like Alison's a typical American who's got a dream, and they're just working at the gas station or working at the restaurant, surviving on tips. And I was really interested about how she's playing on the Strip there in Nashville.
Yeah.
And not getting paid. She's just doing like an open mic night.
Yeah.
And still,
she doesn't
care.
It's pretty cool.
She doesn't care.
Now,
she's living the dream.
We've got our guest here, of course. We've got Sean Frazer from the Ritzy Kids. And before I just bring him in, I'm just going to give a quick plug to our Christmas show coming up on December the 16th. It's our final show for 2021. And it's so exciting. I'm really stoked about this. I'm really excited about it. We've got a lineup of guests and friends of the podcast. Some will be performing live. Our guest tonight will be performing live. But importantly, we've got people like Shane from Blind Seas in Detroit, Alison from Nashville. They're going to be contributing via a video just for our listeners, which I think is...
Oh, right. So they're going to put something on and send it to us, yeah?
They're going to do that, which is going to be awesome. So we're using another platform, so we're not doing it on Riverside, and it's one that's built for conferences so we can get the best experience for both the user and the artist. So we do need people to register, and the link is in the show notes. And as I said, one of the people who will be performing live, and you can't change your mind now, Sean Frazer, is our guest tonight, Sean Frazer from the Ritzy Kids. How are you, Sean?
Oh, I'm doing well, guys. How are we? This is the third appearance, I think, on this show. Is that right?
Absolutely. I wrote them down. The last time was episode 29 when we talked about Sally, and you've had a bit going on since then.
Yeah, so I think after we released Sally, did the video, went on this podcast, got stuck straight into recording Scars and Regrets, and yeah, so it's been a busy time. We're trying to do the whole 6 to 8 week release a single sort of thing still that we spoke about back in May, so we're still doing that. So after Sally, straight into Scars and Regrets. There was no break or anything.
Wow. Yeah. And in relation to Breakthrough, you had some pretty positive feedback in between our last sessions as well.
Yeah, Breakthrough has been, well, it was the first one that we released, the debut, and it's climbing on Spotify at the moment. It's getting a fair bit of plays and a few saves on there that I'm seeing. Artists can see the back end, which is really nice to see. It's nice to see that people are getting into it. Obviously, that it's got a positive message, and maybe people are need that after the year we've had. So it's been good.
Yeah.
And you're free now, Sean. You're free in Sydney.
Yeah, totally free. We can go and get drunk at the pub. So I've been doing that sometimes. We can do whatever we want. We can go to restaurants. But geez, 4 months lockdown. It was. It wasn't too bad. When you write songs and stuff, it's good for that. But definitely after 4 months, you get sick of just looking at walls and going to work. Going to work was like exciting.
Yeah, we are having some internet connection issues with you, Sean. So just to give you the heads up, you're a bit splotchy in the audio back to me, but hopefully it'll improve.
Can't make it out.
Yeah, we'll get it going. So, but top 20 radio downloads. What's that about? What happened there?
Basically, we got breakthrough service through like a company that sort of spat it out to more potential listeners and radio stations and stuff. So it was up to the radio stations whether they wanted to pick it or if they wanted to just leave it in the trash can. And it seemed like quite a fair few of the stations, I think at last count was 70, had picked it up and had either spun it or were planning to spin it in the next 6 weeks. So that was very, very exciting. I've never had anything like that before in my musical career. And it was really nice to see. You'd be on Facebook or Instagram and get a notification saying that they were going to play it that night. And you'd be like, wow, I haven't even heard of this radio station before. But it was really, really amazing to see that. And we got a few followers from that. So anyone that gave it a spin, thank you.
Yeah. That's so cool. Must be so cool to hear your song on the radio,
Yeah, it's a weird experience. Just hearing someone say the band name you come up with and the song that you wrote with your mate and it is a very, very cool experience.
So tell us a little bit about so Breakthrough was the first one, and then we had Sully, and that was different, noticeably different. And then Scars and Regrets, the last time you were on, you promised that it was going to be quicker. I think you've delivered on that, absolutely. Yeah. So where does this end up for the Ritzy kids? Do we end up like in a mosh pit somewhere just going crazy? Or
is there, I think what Tony's saying is would there ever be a ballad?
You know what? It's funny. Tony's not the only one asking for that. A few of my mates were saying, so surely the fourth one's got to be a bit slower than the others. And I can't promise that. The next ones probably aren't as quick as Scars and Regrets. Scars and Regrets is probably the quickest one I've wrote. It's 210 beats per minute, I think. Willard was hitting the sticks. It was funny because I just recorded guitar on my end and then sent it to him, and it was more like, oh well, good luck with that. And he did he did a great job, as he always does.
So how many more do you have in the back pocket at the moment, Sean?
I reckon we've got about 15 songs.
Oh, okay.
I was sifting through them during the week. I've picked out the ones that I want to drop as singles, and then I'll probably form an EP with some of the remainder. But yeah, it looks like we've got a fair chunk. We've got at least a set list, and hopefully we'll be gigging it next year.
And now that you're opened up and you're free there, and are you still doing it? You're still going to be doing it that same way? Like you'll do something and send it to him, and then come back, or you get? I mean,
I think we will do it this way.
Okay.
But it's not to rule out the other way either. I mean, he's just at the other end of the freeway, Willard, so we'll probably catch up for beers, and if we feel like doing it, at his studio, then we'll knock out a song there. But it is quite a lot easier. We're both pretty busy with full-time jobs and all that. Everyone knows that. If you're trying to do the band thing, you've probably got to have a full-time job or some money coming in elsewhere.
Of course.
So
and one thing COVID has done is we've all got good at this technology. We've got better at it. So,
that's
if it
right.
works,
I reckon,
whatever it works, keep
I
doing
reckon
it.
if it wasn't for COVID, I probably would have tossed all this in, all the the interface and plugging this in and plugging that in and seeing if that works. But because I probably had the time and we were locked up, there was nothing else to do. So I just made sure that I've worked it out. And Willard, he's a sound engineer, so he just helped me with that. But yeah, it's one of those things that if COVID wasn't around, I don't know if I would have sat in this room while I was allowed to go out and do this and that. I probably would have tried to hire a studio or something like that. But yeah, I am grateful that we can record this way.
Yeah. It's also once you hire a studio, you're conscious of the money you've outlaid, and sometimes that can put pressure on how you record, and not always in a good way. Sometimes,
Yeah, I'll never kick a studio. But yeah, it does. It is expensive, especially if you're doing it the way I am, where there's only me and there's Willard. You know what I mean? If there's five band members, you can all chip in, and it might be $800 a day or something, which is pretty bloody expensive. But I won't kick a studio, but it is cheaper for me to do it this way.
Yeah. And I mean, there's a whole lot of advantages to a studio as well. I should
yeah. I mean, studio, absolutely. You can work with all types of producers, engineers. Yeah, you've got the big open space as well. Those big rooms in studios, which are inspiring themselves. I mean, you can sit in there with a guitar and come up with stuff you wouldn't crammed in a in a little room.
It's pretty hard to beat a studio at Horseshoe Bay on Magnetic Island, but Bragg, just quiet.
You mean a bedroom? Well, Curly, next week I'm going to check one out at Agnes Water.
Yeah,
so
that'll be really, really cool. Now, tell me a little bit. So I've been doing a little bit of research on Frazer. I'm starting to get a little bit more professional around this particular podcast. So now, Mitch Willard, your partner in crime, does he have a bit of a pedigree with some of the other bands? Who else does he work with?
Well, he plays in a band called The Cyclical. He used to be in a band called Best Kept Secret, which were a like pop punk sort of outfit from the Central Coast, and they did quite well actually back in the day. You can check them out on Spotify. Actually, they got quite a following. And yeah, he's an engineer, so he's worked with a lot of artists. I think he was a recording engineer in LA for a while, and now he's just come back home. And we actually worked on stuff, in 2014 or something, long time ago, on my first album as a solo artist. So I've known him for quite a while.
Yeah,
and he's done a lot of things in his career.
Yeah, absolutely. So. And I found it interesting because there's a couple of questions I want to ask you about the film clip in relation to Mitch this time. So, but I'll wait until I've played that. I won't necessarily spoil that just yet. And you were talking about your full-time job, and you've got quite what many people would consider a high-profile job as it is, isn't it? You're a newsreader with a radio network.
Yeah, I work here in Sydney as a newsreader, and I've done that for quite some time, close to 10 years now. So yeah, it's different to what I do, but then at the same time, some of it's a lot similar. I mean, I'm talking on a microphone. I'm playing around with this sort of gear. So some of the gear is familiar, but the job. Talking about serious things that happen around the world every day. Yeah, that's a little different to singing a couple of love songs or whatever.
Yeah. Do you ever get tempted to say, "Don't forget to check out Breakthrough on Spotify"?
Well, some of the jocks have been quite kind to me at WSFM. They have mentioned the band. They said, "Oh, and he's in a band, so go check it out." And I've always run into the studio afterwards when we're off there, and I'm like, "Thanks for that, thank you. I'll check the Spotify."
That's so good. That's so handy, though. That's excellent.
Yeah. No, they're very good to me at the station.
Excellent. So for the listeners out there, do yourself a favour, go onto YouTube and look up the Kylie and Jackie O interview with Sean Frazer. It's quite.
Are they better than us, Curly?
They've got a little bit more polish, I'd imagine. Although Kyle,
a little bit more experience.
Yeah, a little bit more experience, but I think Sean handled it incredibly well. So just to give you a little bit more of a hint of Sean the person. So what say we put on Scars and Regrets?
Let's do it.
And then we'll have a bit of a chat around the film clip's quite intriguing. And the treatment of Willard is something that I want to talk about. So
I've got a good question first up after this.
not bad. That's good. That's good.
Yeah, it's good.
Thank you very much.
That's pumping. That's Aussie rock. That's what that is.
Absolutely.
Willard is watching this, and he's told me that my internet. He's giving me a hard time about the internet, and it's playing up and it's crackling and stuff. So
it's all right.
Sorry about that.
Oh,
it'll come out in the wash.
Yeah, when we do the edit, it'll come good. Now, can I ask a question? Can I
go first?
Yeah, go for it.
Sean, we know as a muso you're always going to have scars, but do you have any regrets?
Ooh.
Yeah, I think so. They say you don't. They say you don't have regrets, but you know, you shouldn't have regrets. But I don't know. I suppose I think so.
Yeah. Okay. Because a lot of people always say,
no regrets.
You know, I don't regret it. I don't regret it.
Yeah. No, there's definitely things I've done that I'm like, Yeah, I wish I didn't do that.
Yeah, if you're honest, that's it, eh?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the observation I want to make, it's really interesting when you're playing an artist's song, and most of them won't do too much while they're watching it. They don't sort of get into it. But Alison last week, she was singing along and dancing along and pointing out the key
She
bits.
was.
And it's a really, I don't know whether it's an Australian thing, but even when we had Shane from Blind Season, he just sort of sat there. It was like waiting.
Because you know all the parts that you don't like, and you just go, oh, God, here's this part again.
So what's it like when you're on a
different.
show like this and they're playing your song? What's going through your mind?
What's going through my mind is I've heard this song 200 times.
That's it.
And like, you know,
Move on, right?
No, with the video as well. Like I have a part in the editing, so I have heard it. I've heard it a lot of times.
Yeah.
Good video.
And
good drone footage.
Who's the surfer?
The surfer is Jake Fishman. I don't know how much time we got here, but he's a bloke that I met over in America. I was driving from Los Angeles to New York. It was a dream of mine. I always wanted to do it. And as I got into California, I was in LA. I drove down to San Diego. It was one of the first places I went to, and I was trying to pull the van into anywhere I could find where I could sleep the night. And because I was sleeping in the van on this whole trip with just me, my guitar, and my mate. And I'm pulling the van into this beach car park, Pacific Beach in San Diego, and there was a guy in front of me, and I sort of put my head out the window and I said, "Oi, can I park the van here tonight and sleep in it?" And he just looked at me and he was like, "Yeah, you can do that. Where are you from?" And I was like, "From Australia." And then he goes, "What are you guys doing tonight?" And I said, "Oh, we're trying to find a place to go watch the Floyd Mayweather Manny Pacquiao fight."
Yeah.
And he goes, "Why don't you come to my house?" And I was like, "Cool, sweet."
That's
so we
awesome.
just went to this random dude's house, and turns out that was Jake. That was Jake, the surfer. And when I was piecing this song together, I thought it'd be good with a bit of surfing video, and his name came straight to mind. So I sent him a message. I said, "Can I get some footage from you?" And that's how it happened.
Ah, cool. So that's from America, that footage then?
Yes, it's from California.
That's
some big waves there.
It's pretty cool, and once again, I resonate with it. And one of the first times I ever spoke on stage to, the adoring public that I have, I had a 3-minute story about the largest wave I ever caught as a 12-year-old when I was a 12-year-old living up the Sunshine Coast, and there's a whole story in relation to it. And as a 12-year-old, I reckon it felt like a 12-foot wave, but I reckon now that I'm a bit older, it was probably about 6 to 7. But
still big.
But absolutely, you're looking at those big surf, and it takes a bit of gumption to put your heart back in take it out of your throat and put it back to where it's got to be. So, but a great song. And once again, just the lyrics, you look at that, scars and regrets, they make us who we are. Just to me, people can resonate with that. So that's a lyric for everyone. And, so many people will say things like, "I don't have regrets." Everyone's got regrets. There's, that girl that you didn't ask out in grade 7, that's a regret. So, but interestingly, and I've got two big questions. One is, what happened to Mitch? I mean, all I can see is the back of his head and a drum kit. Was that part of the plan? Did he have a zit on the day of filming or something?
No, so obviously we did him. I recorded my parts from home, and he recorded his parts from his house. And he actually recorded his parts on phone, like iPhone. Yeah. And he sent them to me, and I said, "We don't have one of your face." And he's been flat out. He's been doing other stuff. And I said, "If you can get me one of your face, it's going to look, it'll work." And I think by the time, the following Friday came around, I was like, "Well, here's the video, man, but it doesn't have that video." And I think he laughed. He was like, "Oh, that's okay. Like, I'd rather it not." I think he's cool being in the background, sort of drumming away, and so he was cool with it. But I did ask him to get one with the face, but whatever. I wasn't phased.
And Mitch is there on the electric kit, Sean. Yep. So that's another advantage of technology. You plug that straight in, and you haven't got to worry about setting up mics and spending hours getting a drum sound. And
yeah,
so
that's
right.
right.
Yeah,
and you throw in the fact that he's an engineer himself, so he can make the sounds pretty good.
It's fantastic.
He knows what he's doing, and it's a good sounding kit for an electric one. Yeah, so
sounds great.
I'm happy with it.
Yeah, he certainly works it. Now, is there a hint of a love song here?
I can see how. Yeah, I can see how you could think that. It's definitely about. For me, it could be anyone in your life.
Yeah.
Not necessarily a partner, or anyone that's just sort of been with you through the hard times. It's sort of about, like in the chorus, this is who I am. I'm laying it all out for you. And the verses are sort of about that person that helped you get through all those bad times and stuck with you through it. So absolutely, it could be a love song.
So it's kind of like a thank you. And Curly has actually just celebrated his 30th wedding anniversary.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like a thank you, because you do have those times when you're with someone for that long and they've seen you at your worst. And so it seems to me that it's like that, look, I'm sorry for all those things I did. I'm just thank you for hanging in there with me and realising
that's it.
I'm not actually that bad. I'm okay. You know what I mean? That's what I get from it.
Yeah, that's basically it. And congratulations, Tony. That's a milestone and a half.
Oh, Dave Bragg's not that far behind me. How many years have you been?
I'm in front, mate.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
30.
right.
I'm 31.
That's right. Yeah, I think when you realise that life's pretty good with a person, and then you start thinking at any stage of partnership, relationship, that you're thinking the grass may be greener. You need to think, how good is this? And you need to look at the positives. It was interesting. I was speaking to a lady on one of my other podcasts about suicide. And one of the ways she works with people that are contemplating suicide, it's not about necessarily going through that whole process of, arguing against their suicidal thoughts. It's about helping them create a new neural pathway around what is actually good in their life, what is the positives. And when people start talking about the positives in their life, all of a sudden their face lights up, their emotions light up. So it's a really critical thing. And I sort of called you the new positive philosopher of Australian music.
That's a big call.
Well, you look at Breakthrough, and as I said to you, me and you might be having a chat, because I want to run a workshop in January called Breakthrough in 22. So me and you might be having a chat around what that could look like in terms of using your song.
You can have the song for free.
But you know what, guys? Being in a band is so much like being in a marriage, except if depending on how many in the band. If there's 5 in the band, it's fivefold. You've got 5 other people to deal with, and that's what amazes me about some of those bands like the Stones, who just stay together, because they must have pissed one another off so much. Yeah. You think about it's just being understanding, and eventually, I guess, like in a marriage, you get to know that other person's. You think, they're just doing that now because I know that's the way they handle that situation. So you're okay with it. It's you tolerate it because you know that they're just having their little thing or whatever.
Mick Jagger and Keith Richards, they've thrown a few punches at each other before. And they get over it.
Hey, you know what? This is a little off topic. You know what I noticed I've just realised that the Rolling Stones don't have their drummer and their bass player, and the Beatles just have a drummer and a bass player. I'm not saying that's going to work, but I just realised that the other day.
Imagine the ticket they could sell for that. They could probably sell them upwards of $500 a ticket.
Yeah,
I could see the Rolling Stones and the Beatles together.
I think Ringo would fit, but I'm not sure Paul would fit in there with those boys.
Yeah, I don't think. You just get the feeling. So, is it Sir Paul McCartney?
They're all sirs, I think.
Are they?
Oh, they're not. They're never. Well, no, they're not going to knight. They're not going to knight Keith.
Yeah. So what's next for the Ritzy kids, Sean?
Yeah, another single. Maybe in December. I think I was talking to Willard the other day. He's selling some gear and rebuying gear. So we might have some new stuff on the next song. I'll wait until he does that, and then we'll get going on the what is it, 4th single. So it could be out by December,
Yeah.
or it could be out by the New Year. So
it's a country and western tune.
yeah, not much like that. It's
What's the tempo?
I reckon it's 145. So
Okay.
it's a lot slower than this one.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, you're back. We can see you again.
Have I been vanishing? Is my internet playing? Oh,
Yeah.
it's bloody terrible.
Yeah.
It'll be right once it uploads.
Yeah.
It'll be fine.
It'll be good once it uploads. Probably the live stream hasn't been as positive and nice. So possibly December, new song. So is this all working towards an album? Is that the goal?
I reckon more so an EP at this stage. Yeah, I think it'll just be an EP.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm keen to release something like that and get gigging.
Yeah.
That will be good.
And
I'm talking with a couple of other fellas, obviously, to bring in to the band and fill it out a little bit more. So that's happening at the moment, and yeah, hopefully we can get in a big room and start doing it.
mate,
Oh, yeah.
that'd be awesome.
That's going to be good.
Absolutely awesome. And just another question that sort of has come to me. You had an album out, or roughly 10 songs out, just as Sean Frazer. And then you shifted into like the Ritzy Kids, which is a little bit harder than what you had out under your own label. Was there I'm sorry, under your own name. Is there a reason why you had that shift, Sean?
I bought a Telecaster.
Okay.
and I wanted to use it. I think that was what the reason was. I went to the guitar shop with a bit of money, and I was like, oh, I really want a Telecaster, and I started playing it, and I played it through the distortion pedal, and I was like, I think I want to start doing this stuff again. I'm not going to get rid of the solo thing. I'd like to release some more solo stuff in the new year as well. It could be a busy year, but. It was just buying that guitar and plugging it into distortion. I was like, I need another outlet, so I need to create something else.
You like the telly, Sean, huh?
Oh, I love it. I'm
a massive telly fan.
Oh, he's
Oh,
probably
yeah,
got
okay.
one in the back.
I don't know if you can see.
Oh, beautiful. I love it.
Yeah, the butterscotch.
That is lovely. Yeah, see, I just want
It's
all
just
the
a good.
tellies.
You could just bash the fuck out of it, and I just love it. I've got really heavy strings on it. You can just hit it.
And like you can play so many styles with a Telecaster. I mean,
True, that's true. Country.
Yeah.
You could crack it on that back pickup. You could go to the front. You get even a bit jazzy if you want.
Yeah, like it's quite popular in punk rock, and it's like Bruce Springsteen.
Oh yeah,
Like he's just all about it.
Keith.
Yeah, Keith. It's a great guitar. I just love it. It's just so versatile.
I agree. Sorry, Tony, we went a bit technical on you there.
I had absolutely no idea what you guys were
Tony,
talking
you'll
about.
have to get a maybe for your 30th wedding anniversary. You can ask for a Telecaster.
Yeah, well, Tave's promised that he's going to help me learn how to at least play a song. It's and I've sort of
First lesson next weekend
yeah.
when in Agnes Water, Tony.
Absolutely. Hey, just one last question on the film clip itself, and we've always got to make a comment around Sean's presentation and showmanship. And last time we talked about it, we likened you to Liam Gallagher, and you
Yeah,
didn't
you had the
mind
Liam
that.
Gallagher stance.
This time, the last time in the song where you sing "Heard About You, Read About You," I reckon you had the evil eye on. You're looking across the room at someone and you've got the evil eye happening. So was that part of what you wanted to portray in that part?
I don't think so. No, I definitely wasn't thinking that. I'm going to have to go back and watch that.
All right. So Sean was really breaking up there. So I hope that that made some sense. So I hope, yeah. So Sean, well done. We were so stoked to see Breakthrough get some airplay for you. We know how hard you guys work. And, quite frankly, we love the music, and that music deserves to be played live in pubs right around Australia. So hopefully, if we continue on our path that currently we're on, hopefully we can make that start to happen. So with your permission, Tave and I are just going to do our little thing around our undiscovered 7 inches. So I'm going first this time. It's
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So this is a band. It's an old Sydney band, and it's called.
Can I see what's it? The Eastern Dark? Is that their name?
That's Eastern Dark.
I've never heard of these guys. So what's it say down the bottom? Is that the name of the song?
That's the name of the song.
Jenny and Dee Dee.
Yeah.
What is it?
Johnny and Dee Dee is the one song, and Julia's a Junkie is another.
Julia's a Junkie.
Heavily influenced by the Ramones.
Yes.
Now, James Darroch was the lead vocal, and he played bass for a band called Celibate Rifles, which you may or may not have heard about, Damien Lovelock's band.
Yep.
Went out and joined the Eastern Dark. They released this, which was just like it's... And the reason why this is here, because this is the Sydney pedigree that the Ritzy kids are sort of following.
Yes.
And it's frenetic, it's guitar, it's beautiful. This was released in 85, so a little bit before the best year of music, which is, of course, 86. But Eastern Dark recorded an EP, and as they'd recorded it and then they hit a weekend of shows, they actually had a car accident, which killed the vocalist and put the other two... There was only a three-piece. Put the other two in hospital, which unfortunately saw the demise of one of a truly great band. So Eastern Dark, 85, Johnny and Dee Dee. It's
good. I like the cover too.
Yeah,
I like the colours. You know what do you call them? Not chromatic colours. Just the basic colours. You know.
Yeah. There's not a lot of depth to it. So that was So that's an interesting part of Australian music history. So what have you got for us?
Curly, I've gone for a band that has had a little bit more success than those guys, the Eastern Dark. And I would probably go out on a limb and say they're the biggest band that's ever come out of Sydney.
Wow.
This is a single from their second album. And there they are. There it is right there. So is it in the centre?
Yeah.
It's in excess. It's a cool song, Stay Young. The first band I was ever in, we covered this song. It's just about, and you know, Tony, I'm not getting any younger, and I think one thing that keeps you young, and I'm sure Sean will agree, is that playing music is so good for your soul. Keeps you a bit young, so there you go.
Yeah. And stay.
And one thing cool about this, it's got the words on the back.
All right.
Yeah, so you can read the words on the back, even on the single. That's really cool, I reckon.
Absolutely.
And one other thing I have to tell you about this is the clip for this. You can go on YouTube and check it out. And the clip was filmed by Peter Clifton, who was famous for filming Led Zeppelin's Song Remains the Same. He filmed that whole movie.
Now, was there also a Zepp album that had a milestone this
Led Zeppelin 4 on Monday, it was 50 years to the day that it came out, Led Zepp 4.
How old does everyone feel?
That changed everything when that came out.
Changed everything. So, had you heard of any? I mean, obviously In Excess, Sean, you've heard about, but
In Excess, but I've got to check out Eastern Dark. That is it's a tragic story, the one that you were just saying, but I'm intrigued. I hadn't heard of them.
Yeah, we'll look them up. I don't know if their music's. I'd say YouTube's going to be your best bet. A lot of the stuff that I tend to like never gets onto the digital streaming platform. So, Sean, once again, awesome having you back on the show. A couple of gremlins on the internet tonight, so it's we will make sure we get the video and the audio out on Thursday normally this week. Just a couple of things that we just need to go through. Next week, 18th of November, we've got a band from Brisbane called Spillage. Just to let the cat out of the bag, they were running around as a band in the 1990s. The lead singer apparently was given some money to go get some kebabs, and he came back 20 years later. That's their story. That's their story, and they're sticking to it. So we're looking forward to that. The week after that, we've got Fee Garrett from Amped NZ. Now, we've featured a lot of live music and musicians. Amped NZ is live streaming dance music, and I'm fascinated.
So she's a DJ. Yeah, it's going to be cool. Get a DJ on.
And I'm fascinated because their live streams, they'll have hundreds of people on a live stream watching a DJ do their thing and watching and obviously dancing. So What can we learn from that? What can musos learn from that? I think that's really important. 2nd of December, we've got a show planned that's called the Undiscovered and Uncovered Covers. So that'll be interesting. A couple from Braggy and a couple from Curly. December 9, we've got an education session around social media to help bands get discovered. So if you've got any sort of questions in relation to social media, pass them through so we can ask the expert. We're told
that'll be a good one for any bands out there that listen or any musos to listen to. I reckon I'm really interested in that because
we're constantly, and Sean's good on social media. They've got a great following on their Facebook page. But for anyone that's got questions to get discovered nowadays, it seems to be that social media is one of the really key things. So what does it mean for musos? And of course, on the 16th of December, we've got our Christmas show, which will be our last show of the year. And once again, the links for all that will be in the show notes. The links for the Ritzy kids will be in the show notes, their Spotify links. But you do need to register for the Christmas show because, as I said, it is going to be on another platform. We won't be streaming through YouTube. We're also running a trivia quiz on the night, so that'll be a little bit of fun. So, yeah, there'll be a prize. So, don't know what it is yet, but we'll work it out. And then, lastly, but not least, in 2022, we kick off the year with a gentleman called Mick Madue from the Screaming Tribesmen, mate.
Wow.
I am so excited by that.
That's right in your alley.
Right in the 80s. So, and Screaming Tribesmen, the likes of Chris Mazurek from the Hitman. Mick's just been a mainstay of rock, Queensland rock music. He's still got a band playing, Mick Madue and the Mesmerizers. And we kick off our first show in 2022 with Mick Madue, which is going to...
I'm looking forward to that, Tony, because he's going to be right in the middle of the Joe Bjelke-Peterson era, which would have been really tough out there. They were closing down venues and it was police fucking bullshit going on. It's going to be interesting to talk to him about that.
Absolutely. And one of the interesting things is, and one of the songs that are on our Undiscovered and Unfiltered Undiscovered playlist, which has now got the new song from the Ritzy kids on it as well, is a song called Igloo from the Screaming Tribesmen, and truly is a classic of Australian independent music. So I'm really excited. I'm a bit of a fan of Mick, so I'll probably be a bit tongue-tied.
Tony's going to be the fangirl.
So I'll be a bit of a fanboy. So have I missed anything?
I don't think so, mate.
All right. So, Sean, once again, fantastic to have you once again on the show. It's been...
Thanks, Sean.
And so exciting to see your success. And, when... Tave found out about the top 20 downloads for Breakthrough. Of course, we had to take just a little bit of credit for that. So,
of course, you guys were the first to have me on any sort of podcast. So, your support's been amazing, and this podcast is just going from strength to strength. I can just see you rattling off all those things you've got, your schedule coming up, plenty happening on the show. So you guys are doing a great job.
Absolutely. And all we want to do, Sean, is just help people. We're not, there's no money to be made in what we do. We just enjoy sitting here having a beer, hopefully getting some people to listen to some new music. And Tave made a really good, valid point last week. Don't just listen to the playlist. Go follow the artists that are on that playlist. So
make sure you follow them because then they get more streams and stuff. And that's
So once again, we're on social media. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube. Wherever you've listened to this particular podcast or watched it, like and subscribe. Please share it. All our information, of course, is on our website. And our fantastic playlists are on Spotify. We've got the Unfiltered, Undiscovered. I think we're about 47 songs there now, so that's pretty cool. And we've also got our protest songs playlist as well.
Are we going to do a new playlist every year, Tony? I think that'd be a good idea. We'll have like the Unfiltered, Undiscovered 2021 playlist, the 2022 playlist.
Good idea. So, and as I said, we're just continuing to charge on. So from Tave and myself, thank you all very much for listening. Once again, thank you so much, Sean. I'm looking over here because you're on my YouTube screen, but you're not on my main screen. So that's why I'm constantly pointing over there. But once again, great show. Thank you so much. And to everyone, we'll see you all again next week.